Hi, I'm Mitzi Hill. I'm a partner with Taylor English Duma in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been a technology lawyer for nearly 30 years, both in-house at a large company and with outside firms. I started the data privacy practice at Taylor English, and I work with a lot of our clients on privacy compliance and security planning, including security audits, updates to policies, internal workflows, and drafting and negotiating agreements that are affected by privacy and security requirements. And today we're going to be talking about the Colorado privacy legislation that came into effect in the middle of 2023. Colorado's privacy law is one of the new style comprehensive state level consumer privacy laws. It covers areas like a consumer's right to access, correct, or delete their information, for consumers to opt out of profiling and sale based on their personal information. It requires an opt-in for processing of consumers' sensitive data and requires an opt-out for anything that involves automated decision-making. For the company itself that is covered by the law, it has to offer explicit notice describing what it collects in terms of personal information and how it uses that. Under certain circumstances, it has to conduct what are called risk assessments or impact assessments of how its data collection and use processes might affect consumers. It is limited to collecting the information that is strictly necessary for it to perform whatever services it says it's going to perform for the consumer. And it implements a broad definition of personal information, which is one of the key features of these new style privacy acts, because they cover so much more data than anything prior to their existence ever did. Colorado's privacy law has a couple of features that make it slightly different from some of the other comprehensive state privacy laws, including California's. For one thing, if a company is engaging in what is called profiling using personal information, and that's largely done in a marketing setting or an advertising setting where you're drawing inferences or creating a profile about a consumer to target ads to them, the Colorado law will require a data protection impact assessment or risk assessment if that profiling creates a reasonably foreseeable potential for certain kinds of harm to consumer, like it might constitute an unfair trade practice, or it might physically or fiscally injure the consumer, or if it is especially intrusive on their privacy or could create another kind of substantial injury to the consumer. The Colorado law also requires that companies who are interacting with consumers and collecting their personal information honor what's called a universal opt-out signal by the middle of 2024. If that company is selling consumers' personal information or is conducting targeted advertising using personal information. But probably the most distinctive thing about Colorado's law is that it has the potential to impose really large fines. And by really large, I mean up to $20,000 per consumer and per transaction, which is quite a departure from most of the comprehensive state privacy laws. The Colorado law imposes financial penalties that we have covered separately, but it also allows the state attorney general to enjoin or stop companies from engaging in practices that they feel violate or that they find violate the Colorado privacy law. And in general, the attorney general has the power to go after privacy violators for unfair and deceptive trade practices under Colorado's consumer protection statutes. The state of Colorado, once the law came into effect in the middle of 2023, has kicked off its enforcement campaign with a little bit of grace for companies that are covered by it. In other words, it has sent letters to covered companies reminding them that the law is now in effect and what their obligations are under it. We have not yet seen any widespread enforcement actions, but we expect that to come. Thanks for being here today. I'm Mitzi Hill with Taylor English in Atlanta, and if you are interested in more about the Colorado privacy law or have compliance questions, please feel free to get in touch.